Marcus Newhall. It was like this in January, 20 years ago. I was collecting spar glasses, the ones with the red staining and engraved veduts depicting the Steinbad in Teplice, the colonnade in Karlovy Vary, or the Pravchika Gate, and I thought that one day, when I was retired, I would take a bicycle and photograph all these things as they look today and compare them with how they looked in the mid-19th century. And in order to have enough for the collection, I used to buy other Czech glass on flea market and sell it on eBay, as many collectors still do today. And that's when Marcus contacted me. He said he was an English writer living in France and he needed to get some Czech pressed glass. He sent me some photos and offered me €5 for each piece. The glass, back then, in 2005, was practically worthless in our country. We knew it from school halls, offices, pubs and restaurants. When I paid 20 cents for it at the flea market, it was too much. It was more like this: "I'll take all 6 of these pieces and give you 50, do you want it?" And they did. Soon I had several boxes of pressings at home and we were figuring out how to get him to Marcus in France as cheaply as possible. He lived just outside Vichy, on the edge of Massif Central. I figured I'd load it in the car and bring it to him on the way to his summer holiday in Spain. It wasn't a big detour. That was the last time he paid me for the glass. As we wrote and talked afterwards, I got excited about his idea to write a book about Czech pressed glass, Sklo Union, and I bought it, and even brought it to France a couple of times to support his project. Marcus had big plans. He wanted to make a museum of Czech pressed glass, to make videos with Czech artists. He was oozing with infectious enthusiasm and energy. "How many of these books are you going to sell?" I asked, and he said there were over 1,000 collectors of pressing glass in England alone, and they all wrote to him to tell him how much they were looking forward to his book. I was looking forward to it too, and because Marcus wanted everything perfect, I had to read his story several times and correct the mistakes in the Czech names. Then a misunderstanding with the publisher, who, according to Marcus, wanted too much of the expected profit. Marcus borrowed money from several important collectors of pressed glass from all over Europe, and published the book. He arrived in mid-November 2008, saying that we would launch it on the Czech market. He moved into my study, settled on the floor on a mattress, and we got down to business. The market in England was stuck, the recession was starting, and only a few copies were sold. Things were better over here. Max Velkovsky and Jakub Burdick took some to the Cubis at docks, some was sold on the rummage sale, some went through the auction house. We sold about 500 volumes over here then, before Christmas, but it was still far below Marcus's plans. He was going full speed into bankruptcy, but he didn't see it. That's when I realized that he was actually with us because he was completely broke and wouldn't be leaving to see his family in England until the Christmas holidays. More cutlery at dinner won't ruin us, I thought, and it was true. We had a glass month together, visited the Visners and the Skrdlovas family, stayed with Mr. Zahik and Mr. Medek. It was good, and Marcus still believed that sales would pick up, maybe after Christmas when people were less worried. Unfortunately, he kept himself in an optimistic frame of mind with the powerful doses of alcohol he consumed daily. By the 6th week of his stay with us, Sonia was finding it difficult to cope. And then he flew away, saying that after the new year we would start a monograph on František Wisner together. The last time we met was in Paris in January 2009, and he was very angry with me for not bringing him the money for the 10 books that Madame had taken from us from the shop in the UMPRUM museum and never paid for. He telephoned me a few more times, but he was always, politically speaking, in a mood. It was going downhill with him and no one close to him could stop his fall. Let alone us, thousands of miles away. Simply gullible Marcus relied on the fact that those who had admired and praised his work for years would also reach into their wallets at the right moment and publish, at our cost of about 1,500 Czech korunas, his book, with a phenomenal database on CD. It didn't happen. Praise and back-patting costs nothing, and Marcus didn't get that. And then there was that Amundsen effect. Marcus gave 2 or 3 years' notice that he was going to publish a book on Glass Union. He was advertising himself quite well. But Mark Hill from London, without much hype, in the summer of 2008 published his High Sklo Low Sklo, a book that summarized the whole of post-war Czechoslovak glass design, not just the pressed glass, which Marcus had disproportionately more of in his work. But Mark Hill had captured the essential design icons, and that was enough for the foreign market. So when Marcus reached his pole in November, he found Hill's flag already there. I haven't seen Marcus since. He died a few years ago at the age of 60. You'd be hard-pressed to find that book today for twice the price Marcus needed back then.